apparently an F-16 was shot down. Now, we have three different stories about that. It was either destroyed by a Russian drone after it landed at an air base, or it was shot down by a Patriot missile, or it crashed. Now, the official story, that you hear in the English speaking media is it crashed. But it almost seems certain that it was one of the other two. I don't know which one it was. It was a Ukrainian, actually, an Ukrainian RADA member that said it was shot down by a Patriot missile.
That's what I heard as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's the most likely. But when a U.S. Defense Department spokesman was asked about this directly. Yes, what happened? Was it shot down by a Patriot missile? And the person did not give a straight answer. He said, "Oh, well, I think you need to ask the Ukrainians about that." Deflected. But just the fact that there wasn't an outright denial, makes me strongly suspect that in fact it was a Patriot. But that's the sort of thing that you're not going to get any Pentagon spokesman to say openly, because it reflects badly on the power, and this is a key weapon system of the U.S. military. It's one of the crown jewels of the U.S. military, and it's something, as we've said, that's very important in maintaining alliances. As part of the deal, say, okay, you're part of our team, right? When speaking of Saudi Arabia or whatever, and as a member of our team, we can protect you. We can protect your airspace with this state-of-the-art air defense system, the Patriot. And if it turns out the Patriot isn't nearly as good as it's said to be, well, that actually is a real blow, not just to U.S. prestige, but just to the ability of the U.S. government to make deals and maintain alliances with other countries around the world. So that they're going to hide weaknesses about it. And I think, again, this is just one example, but it's typical. I mean, the weaknesses of the U.S. military are downplayed or just plain hidden. And then all kinds of stories are fabricated about the Russians, or Russian failures are exaggerated and given the spotlight. So somebody, again, who's in the consumes English language media, doesn't pay close attention, would get this assumption that there's no reason to think that we're anything but number one. Again, it's a different story in the rest of the world, who hears a lot, of what's going on. I think, has a more complete picture of the actual war as it's being fought.
So that F-16 that was shot down, is that really that damning about the U.S. Patriot missile system? Because if it was shot down by a Patriot interceptor, because that's what I heard, and like you said, it was actually a Ukrainian RADA member that said that. They have every reason to lie the other way. So
right.
The fact that they said it makes it seem like, and it makes sense. So what my understanding was that to intercept incoming Russian missiles, they sent the F-16 to intercept some of these with the, using the Sidewinder missiles on the F-16.
Right.
And then the Patriot missiles are also being used to try to take down these Ukrainian incoming missiles. And wouldn't it just be that it's not really a fault of the Patriot missile system, it's the fault of whoever was operating it accidentally targeted this F-16 aircraft in it? If anything, it shows that the Patriot system worked. It brought down the F-16.
No,
but...
right. Well, no. I mean, it would be obviously there was a fault. This was not a story that you want to trumpet. This is a failure of the system.
Okay, yeah, not trumpet, but
yeah.
Of course, but is it a failure of the system or a failure of whoever was operating it?
Okay, well, we really don't know. Part of the Patriot system is supposed to be able to differentiate between friend and foe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's actually a friend and foe identification system. Now, we don't know. That obviously broke down. Now, was it a fault on the Patriot side, or was it, or maybe the fault was on the F-16 side? It's got to be one or the other, and we don't know. But either way, it just kind of does cast doubt on the efficacy of the system, because who wants to buy a system that ends up shooting down your own aircraft?
Right. And the other alternative story that it crashed, which also looks bad on just the F-16. If it just crashed, this pilot that that died in the crash. I think he was a really the face of kind of this F-16 program, from my understanding. That he went through years of training, and they finally arrived. I mean, it's kind of it's tragic as well. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
Just but it's also
But it was also rather predictable.
Right,
that
exactly.
these are going to be shot down.
Right.
There's
You
no
spent
reason
so
to
much
think.
time.
Right, there are all these Soviet era aircraft that have been shot down. Those were good airplanes. They're about as old as this F-16. There's no reason to assume the F-16 is far superior. Yeah, they all got shot down. Not right away, but over the course of the war, every last one of them got shot down. And we can expect the same with the F-16s. Maybe with some help from the Patriot systems. We don't know.
Right.
I mean, occasionally, let's be honest. We got to be honest that even the best systems sometimes make mistakes. Air defense is a very tricky, very challenging military task, you can say, and they don't shoot down all incoming missiles, and sometimes there are mistakes, failures to differentiate between friend and foe. So if this isn't necessarily damning. That's the accidents like that can happen on the Russian side, but they should be very minimal, right? It should not be a common occurrence. And the thing is, this was like the first F-16 in the air. They had just begun to put them into operation. So it's either very bad luck or there is some sort of defect in the system.